Who is responsible for house chores if we both work? 1, 2, 3.
Both of you. Why would anybody be thinking that it would be only one or only the other?
Hello and welcome to the Pillow Talks podcast. We're your hosts, Vanessa
and Xander Marin.
I'm a sex therapist with over 20 years of experience.
And I'm just a regular dude. We share the ups and downs in our relationship while giving you step-by-step techniques for improving yours.
Make sure you subscribe for your weekly double date full of totally doable sex tips, practical relationship advice, hilarious and honest stories of what really goes on behind closed bedroom doors, and so much more. It's the sex education you wish you'd had. On today's episode, we are playing one of our favorite games that we've ever come up with, which is there's probably only 1 or 2 games that we've ever come up with. But this one
low bar.
is called tiebreakers. So here's how tiebreakers works. You tell us something that you and your partner just cannot agree on. You have tried.
In fact, you disagree vehemently.
Oh, look at you pulling out the SAT vocab words.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's vehemently.
It could be either way.
All right, whatever. Anyways, you tell us what the debate is. And we, in all of our wisdom and glory,
all of our knowledge, all of our sage knowledge,
we break the tie for you and definitively, once and for all, end your relationship standoff.
It has been decided.
With the power vested in us.
With the power vested in us.
You can no longer fight about this.
Not allowed.
Here is your answer.
Here is your judgment.
Okay, so here's the setup. We turn to our Instagram community. If you're not following us on Instagram already, we're at Vanessa and Xander. And we asked, what is something funny or serious? And we have a whole wide range. But what is something that you and your partner just cannot agree on?
And you need our assistance.
Yes, you want us to break this tie for you. So we have a long list of them in front of us that our team member put together, but we have not discussed these. So this is the high stakes nature of tiebreakers.
Yeah, snap judgments, baby.
And so hopefully we will agree on our takes on these. But
or
we'll
not.
See.
Why do we need to agree?
Because we have to break the tie. There's no point in us having different opinions because then we are at a standstill again.
Well, but then we need a level above us to tie break for. We need a master tiebreaker to tie break our ties.
But there's nobody here to do that.
Chauncey and Maggie can do it.
Okay. Sounds like a great idea.
Just kidding. We're going to make sure that we agree.
We'll fight to the death between ourselves to get consensus. How about that?
All right. So there will be a winner.
There will.
Okay.
Deal. What is that handshake?
Well, I'm trying to do my right hand, but I can't bump. I don't want to bump the mic.
Okay, I don't know why I went in for a handshake, but Xander just gave me the limpest fish handshake. Like he just clutched my hand in between 3 fingers.
We have this on video. I am very clearly
Please,
trying,
I need a video of
I'm
Xander.
very clear. Come on, help me out here. Help me out here. There we go.
There you go.
Help me out here. I am trying desperately to not bump the microphone, knock the cord out.
Actually, you know what? I was listening to our podcast the other day, and you bumped the microphone a lot. I kept hearing a little thunk.
Yeah,
thunk.
Thanks for, making me reach my arm out and bump the mic.
Okay, let's get into it.
And who says it wasn't you?
Because you were talking.
Could have still been you.
I do hit the mic sometimes too. We both get animated. It's hard not to.
I know.
All right. He won't shower with me. Says there is no room. I love being skin to skin with him. It's my love language, and we haven't showered together in 14 years. It's a daily struggle.
Daily?
Yeah.
Wow, dramatic. A daily struggle?
Well, we can't be judging people who want us to break their ties.
I mean, are you begging every single day?
I don't know.
That's a lot. Okay, I need to know, how large is this shower?
Well, he says there's no room.
No,
what? I mean, who do you side with? Him or the person who wrote this?
And the only options here are
shower together or don't
shower together or don't shower together. There's no middle ground.
No, there could be a middle ground. We can break the tie with a completely different option that nobody's thought of.
I mean, in general, I want to side with this guy. If he feels like there's no room, because look, I relate with this. I am larger than Vanessa. And as such, in the shower, she is at an unfortunate...
You're taller. That's the real problem.
She's at an unfortunate height where it is very likely that my limbs hit her in the face. Unbeknownst to me, when
also,
I'm
we can't have the temperature I want.
When I'm just living my life. Yeah. So the other thing is, I'm taller than Vanessa, like by a foot. And so I don't know if you've noticed this, but as a shower falls, like the water loses a lot of its heat as it falls. Like can be pretty shocking. Mm-hmm. So Vanessa likes it at a much hotter temperature because it's hitting her a foot lower than me. I don't know if you ever noticed this. I remember when I was a kid, like taking a shower with my parents or something, like probably like 3 or 4 years old. I have this vague memory
13, 14.
of of being picked up in the shower, like by my dad, and being like, oh my God, the water is so much hotter up here. Mm-hmm. And that's like our situation. So Vanessa wants it, what to me feels like scalding hot. We probably like the same temperature.
Probably.
So that's a problem. It's really hard for me to wash. We even have a large shower. Mm-hmm. But it's hard for me to wash my body and for both of us to have any amount of water on us without being at extreme risk for smacking her in the face, like with my elbows. So I feel for this guy. I want to side with him. If he feels like there's not enough space, because what's also behind that is he probably doesn't want to hurt you and then get in trouble for smacking you accidentally, then, I want to side with him. That being said, I would say that if she really wants to have the experience of being close with him in the shower, yo, dude, just take a shower with her every now and then. That's like just a for fun shower. Like, don't wash your hair. Don't wash your body. Like, just get in there and be close with her and think of it like something nice that you're doing for her rather than like, I need to take a shower for me. I think that he should just take a shower with her occasionally, once a month, maybe.
Okay, I have some other ideas too. So I agree with you. I think if he's like physically uncomfortable and just like can't do it, then I think we're allowed to decide that we want to shower by ourselves. Also, showering is like, it's a personal hygiene thing. It's a self-care thing. I think we get to like make our own boundaries around this.
Yeah.
And I think her saying like, that's my love language, that's so specific. Like you can say, I want more touch throughout the day, but I don't think we can use love language in like, okay, you're doing something that I don't want you to be doing. Well, no, don't do that because it's my love language.
Well, it's like weaponized love language. Like I took physical touch and then I was like, well, my love language isn't actually physical touch. It is just close ass showers. That's it.
So I say this person cannot force him to take a shower together. But yes, he could throw this person a bone every once in a while and take a shower. Also, when you go on vacation or you're staying at somebody else's house, if there's a bigger shower, maybe try it there. Mm-hmm. And also he could throw this person a bone by just doing more skin-to-skin contact outside of the shower as well.
Yeah, also strong suggestion for the person writing in to prioritize, in a house, like getting a house or building a house or redoing a bathroom so that you can have a large enough shower for 2 shower heads with enough space for 2 of you. Okay.
That's a very privileged thing that most people wouldn't be able to experience.
Well, okay, true. But then again, if this is your love language and it's like, hey, this is like, I don't care how large the bedrooms are. I don't care how many,
big
other rooms.
Shower.
I mean, if that's truly like your love language, then I feel like,
You're being sassy. You came out the gates hot on this person.
Okay. Well, it's tiebreakers, baby.
Okay.
Trying to break some ties.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. Did you know your body starts accumulating senescent cells as early as your 20s? Also called zombie cells, these cells stop producing collagen and hyaluronic acid like they used to and start secreting an inflammatory substance that makes neighboring cells dysfunctional too. There is an answer for these zombie cells though, and it comes from our friends at OneSkin. Founded by an all-woman team of scientists, OneSkin is the first and only skin longevity longevity company to target cellular senescence, a key hallmark of aging, with their proprietary OS1 peptide. OS1 is scientifically proven to decrease lines and wrinkles, boost hydration, and help with the thinning skin that often comes with age. But don't just take my word for it. They have over 4,000 five-star reviews for their full line of face, body, sun, and travel size products. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin for 15% off using the code PILLOW when you check out at oneskin.co. With OneSkin, your skin can stay healthy, strong, and hydrated at every age. For the last few months, I've been testing their OS1 face and eye, and I really like both of them. I love that their routine is so streamlined. It's just focused on maximally effective products, so you're not doing like 15 different steps. I really love skincare. It's a little side passion of mine. So I was thrilled to have OneSkin come on as a podcast sponsor. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code PILLOW at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code PILLOW. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support Pillow Talks and let them know we sent you.
Next one. Ooh, this one is near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you really put this in order for me to stay spicy, it sounds like. Should we hyphenate our last names when we get married? He thinks he's doing me, female, a favor. I say no.
Okay, let's say on the count of 3 what they should do. Should they hyphenate, yes or no?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
No.
That's not a surprise. Okay, we are not fans of the hyphenate.
Sorry, mom and dad.
Yeah, so you were raised a hyphenate. I was not. I had a single name.
I was raised a hyphenate. I lived that hyphenate life.
You did. Why is that weird to say?
Hyphenate life.
Why is that weird to say? You were raised a hyphenate. You are a hyphenate.
I know, it just sounds real funny. I've never heard anybody say that. Yo, you a hyphenate?
Yeah, that's really normal. You're being weird. Okay, so you were, and you hated it because you had an extremely long name. I know there's like a lot of like technical challenges that come up too. Like,
yes, never fits in those
never fits
boxes.
in the boxes. Sometimes like the hyphen isn't accepted. It just gets really weird. And so then when we got married, I was like, well, I don't like, okay, so here's my beef with getting married. I think it's bullshit that in male-female relationships, the woman just automatically has to change her name. Why? We're not living in the 1600s anymore. Like, my father didn't arrange for me to get married to you so that he could like get more land or cattle. Like,
no dowries were paid.
No dowries were paid. Why do I automatically have to lose my identity, my name, just because I'm getting married to you?
Well, it's
like,
because you're
bullshit.
becoming my possession, obviously. That is sarcasm to anyone that did not pick that up.
You're gonna get in
through
trouble.
the microphone. I'm saying that right there, so there's no missing context.
Okay, so I think this whole changing names thing is bullshit anyways.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, but then in our circumstance, it was like, okay, well, what are we going to do? Like become a 3 hyphenate? That's insane. I don't want to do that. So what we ended up doing, which is a perfect example of we're not going to side with either person. We have a different option for you. Pick one of your last names that you both change to.
Well, the funny thing about that is that actually we were going to do something else first.
Yes.
Which was we were going to create a Frankenstein last name.
Which you could do that too.
Yes. So we were going to create a brand new last name that borrowed parts from all 3 of our last names.
And it was very ugly.
I don't say ugly because I'm sure that there's someone that listens to this podcast with that last name.
Don't say it.
Ooh, I was going to say it. No. Okay, I'm not going to say it. You might be able to guess what it was because...
No, nobody knows what your hyphen was originally.
Okay, I guess I won't say it. Wow.
I never share my maiden name.
Okay, all right.
It's just like a privacy thing for me.
Okay, great. Well, then in that case, I won't say it, and then no one will get thrown under the bus. But we were going to create a brand new last name out of all 3 of our last names. And like... if no one said anything, Vanessa and I 100% would have done that. We would not be Marin.
We thought it was a really good idea.
We were going full steam ahead with that. And we were already thinking of ourselves that way. And so we told our parents, all of them, about that decision. And one by one, every single one of our parents, I think independently, reached out to us to express their extreme preference for us to do anything but that. And
it wasn't like preference. It was just like, have you guys thought about, like, the main point that all of them brought up was like, this name that you're creating, there's no history tied to it. Like, you have 3 different names that all have these very unique histories, or, 4, like we, could look at my mom's maiden name too. Like, you have 4 different names that all have histories tied to them. Like, why don't you just pick one of those instead? And we were like, oh, yeah, that's way more interesting. So we looked at these 4 names. We picked on a couple of factors. Honestly, the main one was just like, what was the nicest sounding? And Marin, by far and away, like, had such a nice ring to it for both of us, like both of our first names. And we also really liked that it's Xander's mom's maiden name, which I thought was cool. It's like, yeah, fuck this. Like, let's take a maiden name. And it also is a Latino name, and both of us have Latino backgrounds.
Yeah, both of us have Latino backgrounds, and also can be very white passing to the eye. And so it feels nice to have that Latino heritage in our name that, sort of makes it a little bit more obvious of what we are, even though many people don't always see that, just superficially.
So I would say pick your own name or don't change your names. But hyphenating is not him doing her a favor. Like, not in these days and times anymore.
Yeah, now,
and age.
In this day and age.
In these days and times.
In these days and times of our lives.
What is that?
In this day and age.
No, but what's that show? Days of our
lives.
Lives.
That's why I said these days and times of our lives.
Okay, let's move on.
Oh my God, no! I'm about to hit the guy with the real truth bomb of how he thinks he's doing her a favor. I guess maybe you're doing her a favor, but let me tell you, you are not doing your future children a favor, because here's Vanessa shared a lot of it. For me, there was one more element about the hyphenated name that felt particularly challenging to me. It was that my parents decided to hyphenate because they, I don't know, couldn't decide, or whatever it was. I'm sure there was more than just one thing behind that. But they got to make that decision. But to me, it felt like, well, by them making that decision, I felt like that put me in a tough position of, well, I am not really capable of making that same decision that they made, because, like Vanessa said, it starts to get really unwieldy, or when we're doing like 3 names. And especially if you continue that forward and assuming, okay, well, they made that decision and then I make that decision, and then at that point we thought we were going to have kids. So it was like our kids make that decision. And then all of a sudden you got like, if everybody does this, like we have like impossible to remember the long last names, right? Mm-hmm. And so to me, it felt like that, making that decision actually takes some agency away from your own children and your children's children, in creating a kind of like unfair burden for them. So that was my perspective on it. So to this guy who thinks that he's doing his wife a favor here, or his future wife a favor, maybe you're doing her a favor if she wants that. She doesn't want it, so you're not doing her a favor. But even if you were, you're not doing your kids a favor, in my opinion. I'm totally open to other opinions here. I know in some other cultures, like in Mexican culture, it's very common to have a lot of last names. Mm-hmm. But then again, in American culture, in the country that we live in, it is not common. And in fact, it is quite a burden. Even for me with these 2 last names, each of my 2 last names were not particularly long, but together and with the hyphen, it was more than 10 characters, I believe, which like a lot of standardized tests and like official documents only have boxes for 10. And so I would always, the N in Marin would always get cut off. And it's just like sad when you're like, I can't, like, this official governmental organization or whatever, like, doesn't even know what my actual name is. It almost feels like, it feels pretty crappy. So that's my essay on the topic.
Wow, I didn't think we'd get so fired up. We're only 2 in. We have a long list.
Well, maybe there's going to be 2 episodes.
All right, let's see. All right, here's our next one. I want hand jobs. She thinks we're too old to be doing that. Xander, do hand jobs have an age limit?
Hand jobs do not have an expiration date, don't have an age limit. Hell no. As someone who, you know what, I will take ownership of the fact that I probably used to think along these lines. I definitely, straight out of college, in the first bachelor pad I lived in with a bunch of my college guy friends in San Francisco, definitely made fun of one of our friends who was notorious for receiving hand jobs. Sorry, John, if you're ever listening to this. I won't say your last name. I'm sorry, John. That was unfair because the reality is hand jobs are fucking awesome. There is nothing better than, honestly, there's a time and a place for an incredible hand job. It can be way better than a blowjob, in my opinion, especially if you're using some of the techniques that we have in our foreplay guides. Mm-hmm. And it is so underrated. And it's just like, it's so nice. 'Cause unlike a blowjob where you can watch, but like you can't really see all the action because a lot of the blowjob is happening inside of the mouth, right? Mm-hmm. The hand job is like, you just get to sit back. It's just like all the attention is being paid to you. You get to sit back, watch. It's really fucking hot. With the right technique, it's pretty next level. And yeah, I don't think that anyone should knock hand jobs, and especially they shouldn't think like, oh, now that we're old enough to be doing blowjobs or doing intercourse, like, screw the hand jobs.
All right. I actually want you to like look to the camera and give an impassioned sales pitch for hand jobs.
Hand jobs, baby.
Do that the whole. What was that?
I don't know.
He's slapping his. It's like he's slapping his hand with like his
job.
hand job.
I'm just trying to make some noise, you know. Whew, okay, time to move on.
You got yourself all hot and bothered over.
Yeah,
hand jobs.
I gotta let Vanessa get in on some of these, huh? All right, we are a busy family of 4, and my husband and I share an e-calendar to manage it all. Wait, first of all, I just gotta ask what an e-calendar is relative to a regular calendar. This kind of sounds, I'm just going to throw my mom under the bus here.
That's why I'm laughing.
You might be listening, Mom. And I hate to break it to you, but Vanessa and I laugh about this every now and then. There was this one time, what was it that you said, Vanessa? Vanessa was talking about writing some articles. Yeah. I think for either for our blog or for other publications. But Vanessa used to write a lot of articles for other news publications. And my mom was like, "Oh, like an e-zine?"
It's not funny.
I've never heard anyone say.
It's really not that funny.
I've never heard anyone say e-zine. Well, also because the word there is no word zine. It's just magazine. I say magazine because I feel like 50% of people are going to hear that story and be like, what the fuck is a zine? And how does that relate to anything? It's magazine. It should be e-zine, not e-zine. Because there's no word zine and it's magazine.
It's just one of those things. It's like, it's not funny, but it just has such a history between the two of us.
Every now and then we just look at each other and go, "Oh, do you write that in your e-zine?" Sorry, Mom. We really love you, and it's.
I hope she stopped listening. She was listening for a while, but maybe she's petered off.
I don't know. This is the test. Let me know. Let me know if you're listening, Mom. I love you.
I love you too. I'm sorry. It was very cute and endearing. Okay,
I know. I hope it feels good to know that we got such a kick out of things. Also, wait, God, you just learned the word. Someone on our team sent it. This isn't quite the same thing, but I feel like this is like a type of humor that you especially love. What?
No, that was for day and time. It's a wait, hold on. Malaphor. Malaphor is what I do. There actually is a word that describes what I do. Malaphor is when you mix up your metaphors. Yes. Like I said, a day and time instead of whatever it was.
Yeah, but Vanessa gets a huge kick out of that. You get a huge kick out of mispronunciations, typos, misspellings.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so dorky. But anyways, an e-calendar.
I'm so sorry to the person that wrote this in, because he wrote in a long question, and we're going to read it. We're going to read it. But, maybe that's the problem, is that you should just share a real calendar, not an e-calendar. I don't even have to read the rest. I mean, we might have solved this without...
What I'm trying to say is this is a very normal thing that families. It's an online calendar. I think she's trying to differentiate. It's not like a big paper,
a physical
old
calendar.
school
I
physical
know.
Calendar.
But does anybody use physical calendars anymore?
My mom.
Besides your mom, anyone our age?
So I don't know why that's so funny now. I don't often hear people call it an e-calendar, but yes, online calendars are lifesavers.
They have a shared calendar.
It's a shared calendar.
My husband and I have a shared calendar. We are a busy family of 4, and my husband and I and all of us have a shared calendar to manage it all. Okay. It's also an e-calendar, by the way. Just need you to know that. We get an alert every time one of us adds to it, and we each have to accept the ad before it goes into our respective phone calendars. So just to be clear, no. I changed it slightly to say they all have a shared calendar. I'm pretty sure it's just between her and her husband.
Yes.
I don't think all.
But the kids'
I don't think all 2
are
of her
on it.
kids. I don't think her 2 kids also have to accept activities, because that would be mayhem. So this person and their husband, they have to each accept the ad before it goes into their respective phone calendars.
Different from an e-calendar.
Yes. Into the physical
about.
phone calendar.
Okay, keep going. We have to.
Okay. He just accepts the invites willy-nilly without reading them through and making sure everything meshes, and expects me to give a verbal of everything I add. I think the process of getting and accepting the event should be plenty of info for him. We don't need to discuss it unless one of us has a conflict. Help!
Okay. The original writer, you are 1,000% right in this one. Your husband is making you do so much more work. That's the whole point of having an e-calendar. Is that you have all the information there. You guys are able to look at how do these events line up on your individual calendars. You can get reminders. It's all there. It's so convenient. All you need to do is use the freaking system. And your husband is being a crazy person and refusing to use the system that is so nicely set up for him. So he needs to, and it's so simple too. Just read over the invite, look at the info, make sure it works, or send, so that way you can send something back. Actually, I can't pick up. Why can I never think of a child's name except for Timmy in the moment?
I was about to say, just say Timmy, babe. Just go Timmy.
I always say Timmy. That's such a weird name.
It's
Jacob.
a shout out. It's a shout out to our Canadian friends north of the border, because
Hortons.
we love Timmy Hortons.
We don't though.
We've never been to Timmy Hortons in our life, but we love talking about Timmy Hortons because it's so quintessentially Canadian.
There's that time on Instagram.
In fact, yeah, we love it. We love it so much that we made up a fake order for Timmy's.
Canada, and somebody was like, "What's your Timmy's order?" And we're like, "An extra large Timmy's to go."
It was like an extra large, number 2 Timmy's.
No, we just had an extra large Timmy's to go, and the Canadians got so mad at us. And you guys are such sweet, kind people, but we've never gotten more angry messages from Canadians.
That's not a real order at Timmy's. You don't know Tim Hortons.
Never been to Timmy's.
Yeah, is it that obvious?
Okay, wow. We're really going off the rails. We've been going off the rails lately a lot.
That's good. I enjoy. I think our podcasts are way better.
Tim Hortons. Timmy.
Okay. It's little Timmy.
Okay, so yes, your husband would be able to say, "No, I can't pick up Timmy for after soccer practice today because I have a work meeting, or I'm already getting Sally at her basketball practice," right? So you just need to read the information. So I think you're totally in the right. Your husband needs to change. And also, it really sounds like your husband needs to learn what mental load is.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, this is such a good example for all the people out there that struggle with mental load.
Your husband is putting so much more mental load on you by just accepting the invites willy-nilly and saying, like, even though you put together the invite with all of the information that he needs, he
and
also wants you.
And presumably, I'm just going to guess the person who wrote this in created this entire system.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As well. So not only did you engineer, you're not only the architect of this whole calendar system that is meant to share the mental load between you, and you are following the rules that you guys both agreed to. Sorry, so I know I interrupted you. So I'm saying not only all that, but
I forgot my train of thought. But he's just accepting the invites willy-nilly, and he's
asking.
Oh, and he's also asking you to verbally tell him, recap everything. That's insane.
Yeah, because then what's the fucking point of the whole system of you spending, because you're spending time, because hey, let's be real, when you're making an e-calendar invite, you can half-ass it, and you can just be like, block this time, or like the event, right, and send it off with a time, or you can actually fill the whole thing out and be like, oh yeah, the basketball practice at Sally's school that is super important because
Sally and Timmy are such basic names.
Because there's gonna be scouts from the like university there, and it's really important, whatever, that kind of thing, and it's and you fill out the location and all this stuff. So you created this system. You're spending all this time like giving him all the information that he needs, and then he's not looking at it and then saying, well, why don't you just tell me? So that's like maddening, because you're like, well, why did I even do any of this shit in the first place? If we were doing it that way, where like I'm your mom, then like I wouldn't have spent all this time creating all this. Like, I just tell you. But yeah, so anyway, that's messed up. The only things I want to say here are the only two possible points that this guy has is if for some reason you are not actually putting enough information in the calendar invite, where it's like unclear to him what it is, like there's not a clear description, then it would be fair of him to say, hey, I'm not sure I understand what this means. But he still needs to initiate, hey, I saw the invite you sent me titled XYZ. I'm not sure I'm understanding what this is. Could you give me a little more detail? Rather than just being like, accept, and then he's like blissfully unaware until you say, hey, why didn't you go to this thing? Yeah. And then the second thing is, the only other thing that I would maybe say is like, that could potentially, he could take issue with, is like, because, when you are using an e-calendar, you can usually click like find a time and see the availabilities of both people. It's like if you're sending invites willy-nilly without looking at his calendar and seeing like, oh, could he even attend this thing given what else is on his calendar? I could see an issue where it's like, hey, like I was expecting that you would check the calendar before sending me an invite to go to dinner with friends when you already knew that I'm like doing something else with the kids or something. Those are the only situations where I would be like, yeah, you have a point. You have a valid point to be like, hey, I'd like you to like use the calendar differently, or like be more considerate of what I already have on the calendar. Yeah. Sounds like that's not happening here. Yeah. So I side entirely with the person writing in. The other husband's got to step it up with his e-calendaring.
Okay. The next one, actually, there's a similar theme here with mental load. Okay, let's answer on the count of 3. Who is responsible for house chores if we both work? 1, 2, 3. Both of you.
Why would anybody be thinking that it would be only one or only the other?
Yeah, that's crazy talk.
And who's responsible for household chores even if you both don't? Wait, even if only one of you works?
Both of you.
Both of you. It's not like, because we all know, there's plenty of research now that shows that the work of keeping up a household, especially when you have kids, but even when you don't have kids, like, is more than a full-time job. So it is no longer acceptable to be like, oh, okay, I'm somehow exempt from any household labor if I have a full-time job. Mm-hmm. Because the reality is that, I think research tends to show that keeping up a household and family is about 90 hours of work a week.
Oh, I think it's more than that.
And most most full-time jobs.
I think it was actually
people are working
126.
40 hours. Okay.
Like insane.
It's a
like, are there even 126 hours in a week?
It's a 7-day-a-week job. And I think that's the thing that a lot of us get wonky. It's like, oh, well, I worked 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and that somehow gives me like 2 days off.
Yeah, no, you're still an adult. Like, chores are just part of being an adult. And every family has to navigate this differently for themselves. Like, it totally makes sense to say, okay, every family is unique and different. It doesn't need to be a 50-50 mix. Like,
especially if one person is working outside the house a lot, and it would be reasonable that they could accomplish like half of them exactly.
Yeah, like I'm not even home at the time that certain tasks need to be done, whatever it is. So everybody's got to split it up.
Yeah,
but
within reason.
Within reason. But the bottom line is that working outside of the home doesn't exempt you from being an adult and needing to do chores and pick up after yourself and just be an adult human being.
Yeah, if you want to be exempted from that, then I'd say don't get into a relationship. Definitely don't buy a home.
Don't have kids.
Yeah, don't have kids. Like, definitely move into like a well-managed apartment building and be ready to hire all the help that you need to get your house cleaned and do your laundry and all that stuff. It kind of just sounds like a very stereotypical Bachelor or Peter Pan situation. So if that's what you want, like, then fucking own it. Lean in and do that. But yeah, don't like create a family and expect that somehow you get to live that type of life.
Okay, we are going to link something for you in the show notes, our mental load guide. So if you and your partner have never had a clear discussion about mental load and how you're sharing responsibilities and mental load, which, by the way, we polled this very recently, and I believe it was 50% of couples said that they have never had that conversation. And another, I don't know, maybe 20 to 30% of people said, like, we've talked about it, we're trying, but like we don't have a clear plan. It was something like only like 19% of people said, we have talked about this, we have a clear and specific plan. So the vast majority of you, the vast majority of you need this guide. It describes what mental load is. So especially if you have a partner who's like, I don't get it, or I don't know what that means.
Why is this such a big deal?
Yeah, it describes what it is, why it's important, and how the two of you need to balance mental load and responsibilities. And it gives you this like really comprehensive guide for coming up with a specific plan that, again, is tailored to your unique situation, your unique family, but that's getting really clear on who's doing what. So we'll link that for you, our mental load guide, in the show notes. It's very, very important. Actually, another little quick aside on that. We also recently conducted some really, really thorough research on you guys. We did interviews.
Sounds creepy. We've been conducting research.
No, we did a poll and thousands of you, a survey, like a comprehensive survey. Thousands of you responded. And we actually even had a research team like talk one-on-one with 20, 25 different people.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of interviews.
In-depth, long interviews. And one of the top 3 things that people said they needed more help with, or that they'd really benefited, from our work, mental load was one of the top 3 things. So I guess we need to be talking about it a lot more, but we will link that guide for you in the show notes. All right, let's move on, Xander.
All right. Should we charge rent to in-laws who are living in our home? Mother-in-law and 24-year-old brother-in-law. I say yes. Partner says no.
This is one where I'm like, I really want more of this story.
Yes,
I wish that they had sent us
yeah.
a long DM. Like, what is the situation? How long are they living there? Why are they living there?
Yeah. Do you rent or own? I kind of want to know, like, what is the financial situation?
What's the vibe? Like, do they help out with household chores and responsibilities, or like helping take care of your kids?
Yeah. Is it like roommates, or are they in like an ADU or like an in-law?
Oh, type, privacy. Yeah. Are they moochers? Not moochers?
Well, what we do know, though, I mean, there's definitely possibly some sort of amount of bias here in that the person asking, it is their in-laws, whereas the partner, it is their mother and brother, which is a tricky situation.
I'm torn on this one. The details really matter.
Yeah, like, is there a move-out date, or is it indefinite?
Is there an issue of hardship too? Like, did they have to move in because your dad died and he was the primary breadwinner, or your brother got ill or injured and mom is caretaking him, but they can't afford their own? Like, it matters so much versus Well, I guess there's not going to be any situation when mother-in-law and brother-in-law are like, we're just going to move in for fun, even though we can't afford our own place. So I'm assuming there's some sort of hardship.
Yeah. What I would say, I'm hesitant to make a firm judgment on like
but it's
financially,
tiebreakers,
of financially paying rent. But I do think that if they are, I'm going to make a couple assumptions. You said living in our home. I think that means an open-ended, indefinite type of thing. They're not staying temporarily. They're not visiting for a couple of weeks. Like they are there living on an ongoing basis. Mm-hmm. So I would say that if that is the case, family or not, that there should be some expectation that somebody living in your house that you are paying for, they should be contributing. They should be contributing
yes.
in a way that feels fair and reasonable to that household. So that could be done in a number of ways.
Okay, that's the answer.
That could be taking on, household responsibilities, taking on some of that mental load, nanny, cooking, and then it could be a sort of a light financial help where it's like, okay, maybe you're not paying rent to, like the full amount the rent would cost, but like you're buying groceries or you're buying the cleaning supplies or, they're taking you out for dinner sometimes or whatever, so you're contributing some money financially, but like lesser than rent money. Like you said, with babysitting, that can be providing a service that has a financial value because you would otherwise pay someone to do that. Or it could be just talking about, hey, look, let's get real about this is our house. Like this is what, our mortgage is. This is what our expenses are. And like, how can we make this work in a way that feels equitable? To all of us. It could be a whole range of things, but I feel like
there has to be some sort of contribution. If they're living in your house for an extended period of time, there has to be some sort of contribution. And that contribution can vary wildly depending on the circumstances and what's possible, but like there's got to be something that they could do.
Yeah.
Unless they're like completely
unless you're there, they're there because you've decided to take care of them. Yeah.
Which I don't think it is.
It doesn't sound like that.
So contribution, it doesn't need to necessarily be rent.
Yeah.
But I think it should be a conversation of like, okay, you guys are living here, what can we contribute? And I hate that like, I'm just really wondering the story because I'm like, they're obviously, the mother-in-law and brother-in-law obviously did not come into the home clearly like doing things because I don't think this person ever would have reached out.
To me, this just reminds me of like, I don't know, when I came back home, there were a couple summers in college where I lived at home for a summer, part of the summer. And, I was expected to do certain chores and stuff. And it's like, I didn't do those chores year round because I didn't live there anymore. But I came back and it was like, it's not like you just have a free hotel room.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're back in this house. So let's split up the chores.
Yeah.
So, at a minimum, I think there should be some, you're coming into our household, which before you came in here, we were taking care of everything because we had to take care of everything because it was just us. Mm-hmm. Now it's not just us. So how do we all make sure that we are taking care of things? And that, and I think that, you just have to be asking them for what is reasonable. If they don't have money to pay rent, then it's not reasonable to be like, okay, you have to pay rent. Mm-hmm. But, then definitely ask for something else.
Yeah. Okay. This is an interesting one. Can we listen to Christmas music before November? I say yes. My Scrooge partner says no.
Do you want to know what I think?
Sure.
I think you might be surprised. I think that you can listen to Christmas music any time of the year. I wouldn't put a date limit on it. What I will say, though, is that if you want to listen to Christmas music excessively all throughout the year, it should be fairly reasonable for you to expect that your partner might be like, hey, I'm not open to Christmas music every single day, like throughout Christmas time. Like you're going to burn your partner out on Christmas music because I think most people like to just almost only listen to Christmas music, like right through December. And it's like, if that's what you're wanting, then I would, read the room. Like, don't listen to Christmas music nonstop in July. Uh-huh. if you enjoy Christmas music, then listen to it throughout the year. Just understand that you might burn through your kind of Christmas music goodwill.
All right. Well,
Christmas.
you missed my harken back to a previous episode when we had that long conversation about earphones, if earphones is a thing, or if it's headphones.
Oh,
or
headphones, earphones, yeah.
Earplugs.
Earbuds.
Earbuds.
Earplugs.
Those are different. Anyways, yes, I agree. You personally can listen to Christmas music anytime you want using headphones. If your partner doesn't want to listen to Christmas music, then they don't have to be subjected to that. But also, like, Christmas music is fun, and we don't need to limit it just to Christmas.
Okay, what I want to know is how wide is your range of Christmas music? Like, how many songs or albums are we talking about? Because if this question were asked to me, like in real life, basically there's like 2 Christmas albums that are on rotation.
Really, just one.
in our/Vanessa's family's household. To me, if the answer is, well, there are 2 albums, there's
and you can't even remember it. How many times have you listened to it for 17 years?
No, it's the murderer. What's his fucking name?
Murderer.
Oh my God. Tell me the guy's name.
No. I don't know it.
I'm blanking on it. I want to say like Philip Glass. It's not Philip Glass.
Oh my God.
He's not a murderer, as far as I know.
We're gonna get sued on
Isn't it Phil? Isn't it Phil something?
Yes. Philip Glass does not do Christmas music and is definitely not a murderer. Please do not send your attorneys to get us.
Oh my God. But what is it, please? Oh, Phil Spector. Phil Spector's Christmas album. Man, that is a jam of a record. That man is a murderer, though. I don't know why we listen to it.
I mean, it's really good music. He didn't sing on it. He just produced it.
He didn't sing. He does talk on it.
Creepily.
There are some Phil Spector interludes, some murder interludes.
No.
There's that album, and then
that's it.
And then there's like All I Want for Christmas Is You, that song.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's less than 2 albums that we listen to.
It's just the one.
So for me, I'm like, well, no, we're not listening to one album on repeat like all year long.
Snow's coming down.
But if you have like a whole variety, if you have a wide array of Christmas albums that you like, then fuck yeah. I'm swearing a lot in this episode. I hope you don't.
I really hope our podcast editor puts a little pitch thing on me because that was horrible. But that song's a jam.
Mm-hmm.
And you really have to belt it. Okay.
Let us know what is your go-to Christmas or holiday
album. I'm not switching it up from Phil, though. The Wall of Sound. Okay. Do the next one.
Okay. On that note, next one. Eliminating toxins. I want to try to use clean products. He thinks it's woo-woo.
You're the winner here by far and away. Like, unfortunately, this one feels like such a bummer. We've been having so much fun. We were just talking about Christmas and now we're on to toxins, but toxins are real, man. And our cleaning products are full of crap and they're affecting our hormone levels and our bodies and all sorts of horrible, awful, terrible things. There's like, the thing that really boggles my mind is I think there are 30,000 chemicals and ingredients that the EU bans, and the US bans like 5. I don't remember the exact number, but it's like
it might not be 30,000, but
it's 30,000.
There's a massive discrepancy in what our government versus the European Union's government thinks are safe for us health wise, and we barely ban any of them.
Yeah, so you're right. It's a really good idea for everybody to use cleaning products, which sounds like such a funny thing, but you really should. And there's no podcast sponsor here or anything like that.
Yeah, we got nothing to show here.
Because I do have some favorite brands that I really like to use, but I think it's such a great change for people to make. But I also have a nice compromise for you here. You can clean pretty much anything with vinegar and baking soda. And those are ridiculously cheap. They're not like, I don't think your husband will think they're woo-woo, but they're very effective cleaners. So do that.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that we've learned in this is that there are most of these cleaners, like countertop cleaner, window cleaner, all-purpose cleaner, they're mostly all the same product, just with different amounts of water in them.
Yeah.
So you can basically get one product and just water it down to different levels, because it's just the windows don't need nearly as much of the actual cleaning solution, whereas the all-purpose cleaner needs more, or whatever. So
what a strange episode this is.
Yeah, this is weird information from us. But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, the thing that about this for me is even if I'm guessing I'm probably not going to convince your partner that toxins are not woo-woo. I'm not an expert in this. There's really no reason to listen to me in this regard. But I will say, one thing that I really think about is this is a decision that affects both of you. So if this was if he lives in, I don't know, if he lives in his own apartment, he can use whatever cleaning products he wants. But if the two of you have a shared space, you're being affected by the fumes and the fragrances that you're smelling, and they're on your clothes and literally every surface in your home, then I think that he should defer to you and say, okay, I wouldn't buy these myself. I don't think it's that important. But if for you, this feels like a real health thing and there's no way for you to not do it in a shared space, then just defer to the person who has a safety concern.
Yeah, I mean, this is an extreme example, but if he smokes cigarettes and you don't smoke cigarettes, it would be very reasonable to be please do not smoke in the house. I don't want to have any secondhand smoke. So it's for the same reason that we don't smoke in the house when one person smokes and the other person doesn't. You can have different opinions on how bad secondhand smoke is, though there's a lot of research on that. Now, I don't think that is
I
don't think that there's much doubt on that one. But yeah, it's smoking impacts one person. It's not reasonable to be oh, well, the smoking only impacts me, so I'm going to smoke as much as I want in the house. It's well, no, it impacts me, but it also impacts this other person. So I will smoke outside. So yeah, you can use your toxic chemicals at your own house. No big deal. Or outside or whatever. But even setting all of that aside, I would simplify this and be all right, why don't you just say, why don't you sidestep this whole woo-woo thing and be this is a mental load thing, and whoever's responsible for buying the household products
and using
them, they get to decide.
Hey, future Vanessa here, popping back in time to let you know that at this point in the recording, our freaking mics went out and we were not able to record high quality audio of the rest of the episode. So once we discovered it, we were going to go back and re-record the episode. But what we realized is that we were really in the moment and we were feeling ourselves and having fun.
Yeah, when you're unhinged, it's not really possible to get unhinged again in the same sort of way.
Yeah, so we made the tough decision to just leave the audio as is. We were recording backup audio that is much, much lower quality.
Yeah, from our phones recording video far away.
We decided to prioritize humor and entertainment over perfect audio just in this one scenario. So you're going to hear some rough audio, but we hope it'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, if he's I do all the shopping and I take care of the finance, and I'm responsible for the budgeting and I'm responsible for the cleaning, and you're telling me that I need to spend I'm just making up numbers. If
you don't have to, just use vinegar.
You don't have to. But if he's feeling well, you're making me spend more money on it and I'm not able to hit the budget that I'm responsible for, and it's somehow harder for me to clean with these, which it isn't, but even if, then maybe there's a point. So I just be all right, let's arrange the responsibility so that I'm in full control of that element of things, and then you get to make all the choices you want because it's your job.
Okay, Xander, this is a hot topic. Is listening to an audiobook reading? 1, 2, 3. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
The thing, though, is that I don't know. Part of me was about to say if I listened to a book, just an audiobook, I would be a little hesitant to be like, oh yeah, I read that. I'd be like, oh, I listened to that one. Because I feel like for business books or like self-help nonfiction type of books, I feel like I really don't take in as much of the story of like all the stuff in a book like that if I listen to it versus reading it, like sitting down to read it. Because it's more like on the go, or I'm in the car here and there getting distracted by things. When if I'm listening to like a fiction book, I feel like I'm almost more immersed when I'm listening to it. I don't feel like I've like missed any plot points or anything. So yeah, no, I just say it's reading. It's just a different way of consuming it.
There's a weird snobbery that comes up around this. And like, I will say I am such a bookworm. I love reading. I'm always reading like 3 or 4 books at the same time. I love a physical book. I like barely even like to use my Kindle. I'm not a big audiobook person. But all that being said, I think there's a weird snobbery around like audiobooks don't count as reading. It's like, yeah, okay, technically you're listening instead of reading, but like you're still consuming a book, and that's ultimately like what matters the most. Who cares if somebody like likes listening to it versus reading it, as long as you're like, who cares, period. But and especially like now that I'm an author, I don't give a fuck if somebody reads my book versus listens to my book. Like, I just want you to consume it in one way or another.
I mean, from a selfish perspective, actually, I mean, it's better for us if people buy the audiobook than buy the physical book.
We make a lot more money.
we get more royalties for that. I mean, it's kind of akin to like, what's really writing? Like, do you have to have like pen to paper to be properly writing, or like typing on a keyboard? Is that writing? Okay, what about dictation? Mm-hmm. What about actually like using an AI prompt to help you outline something and then you fill it out via dictation or typing? Is that not really writing? It's like, we just have, as technology develops, we get new ways to consume content and to do tasks. I don't think it takes away. It's not like, oh, we can't call it writing anymore. We can't call it reading anymore. It's all the same thing.
All right. We did a terrible job at getting through our list. We are going to do 10 of these, and we have 12 more to go. So
we definitely have another episode.
Please let us know if you like this, because we've got another episode and then some. But Xander, why don't we take it home with
I think we're definitely going to do another episode.
People might not like this. This is a really weird episode.
I don't know. I gauge this just on like how fun it is to record.
I had a lot of fun recording this, but it's definitely a weird episode.
Let us know. I think this is more entertaining
when we get unhinged.
Yeah.
And when we're...
I mean, it's more exciting to listen, and like then you can
It is more us. This is more like what being our actual friends is like, getting a lot of unhinged opinions and weird laughter. Okay, read our last one.
All right. My husband can't understand why women wear tights when exercising, especially when doing squats. He believes that women have been suckered into an industry that has preyed on women's naivete. That my mom also says that. That's what my mom thinks. I dropped that.
Naivete.
That my mom. I remember for so long being like, is that because my mom was the only person that I ever heard say that word until I got into high school and started reading, books with that kind of caliber of SAT words. Naivety.
Okay. Also,
wait, how do
naivete?
Naivete. My mom says naivete.
Naivete. Also, I love that this person misspelled prayed. So instead of like Prey, like you're preying on someone, it's prayed Pray. So your husband thinks that women have been sucked into an industry that's preying over their naivete.
Wow, that's interesting image.
Continue it.
Okay, an industry that has preyed on women's naivete. I don't even know. It's a hard word to say. He also thinks women are indecently exposing themselves when they wear the scrunch bum type tights.
Do you know what the scrunch bum?
I need a picture. Can you? Oh, wait. Let me finish reading this before you take it away. I believe they just feel comfortable, and I'm not wearing them for attention. Okay,
this is scrunch butt.
Oh my god. I've never seen one of those in the wild. That is hilarious. What is the point of it's just to call attention to your butt crack, right?
I mean, obviously.
There's no comfort reason to have a scrunchy thing.
No.
Wow, wait, can I see another? Huh.
I mean, it's just like a cute design detail.
Yeah, I see that.
It's definitely bum highlighting.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so back to the original question. Your husband is being a bozo.
He thinks he's doing women a solid, though. I think he really does.
We wear leggings because they're comfortable, and we want to be comfortable while we are exercising. And also, they look cute, and I want to look cute while I'm working out. I want to see my body. I want to feel proud of my body. And even if I want other people to see and appreciate my body, that does not mean I have been suckered into an industry that's preying on my naivete. I don't need to be protected. I know what I'm doing when I'm putting on a pair of tight-ass leggings. I'm being comfortable so I can go work out.
But what I want to know is, what does this man think that women should be wearing when they exercise?
I don't know, sweatpants?
What is the alternative?
Loose, flowy pants. Those are very uncomfortable to work out in. Also,
I mean, most men wear tight, men wear these days, workout clothes for men, long. I mean, many men will wear actual tights with shorts over them, workout shorts tend to be fairly tight. I mean, my workout shorts have built-in liners that are tight.
Also,
there's a reason that we work out in tight things.
I also like wearing tight clothing because I can see my form better too. I need to be paying attention to
you can't see how your legs are bent and stuff.
Yeah,
in baggy ass pants.
Are my ribs flaring out? Are my shoulders back? Are my knees over my ankle? There's so many things that you want to see. But ultimately, they're the most comfortable things to wear too. I wear short shorts. I actually don't even like to wear pants to work out. I wear little short shorts to work out. And they're tight, and they show off my bum.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was my next...
I hate the word bum.
Bum.
That's your butt.
Well, that was my next question here, was he's tight, so what is he saying, that they should just wear shorts? But then, shorts are still tight and show off your butt.
No, I think he's wear some, baggy-ass sweatpants.
So then women can only wear long pants? There's no option? I mean, women don't usually wear... I haven't seen many baggy shorts that women wear.
Well, if you're wearing baggy shorts and when you're doing stuff with your legs, that then you can see right up your shorts. You know? You gotta go tight. But this idea that the indecently exposing themselves, get over it.
There is a dip. So no, to be clear with that one though, whenever you get workout pants, you do the bend over test, which is, can you see through them? Because not all workout pants are meant to be worn without underwear, without exposing yourself.
Who cares? If you see the little tiniest outline of my butt crack, who cares?
I mean, we all know what a butt crack looks like.
We all know. And the fat, there's really no secrets there. But this idea that I think that ultimately what he's talking about is this idea that we women are supposed to keep ourselves covered because you men can't control yourselves, and we need to be safe and not tempt you, and it's just a whole bunch of really backward ass outdated thinking. If you feel uncomfortable by what other people are wearing to the gym, go find a different gym or work out at home. It's not my responsibility as a woman who's just trying to get a fucking workout in to make you feel comfortable.
Or, even better, it sounds like you have a lot of ideas about the women's fitness industry that you should put to the test. Why don't you start your own female fitness company and start designing and marketing?
Call it Preyed on Naivete.
Yeah. Start designing and marketing the type of workout clothes that you think women should be wearing and put some marketing dollars behind it.
Call them loose bum workout pants.
Great. Loose bum. That's a brand name, loose bum.
Loose bum. There was some other gross word, moist. Loose, moist bum.
Or you could call your brand Decent Exposure. But, I mean, see how it goes. I mean, if you're right about this, that could be a massive industry. No. You could really show your wife if you make it big in the loose bum industry.
Okay, well, that wraps up our tiebreakers. Let us know if you
Wow.
liked this unhinged episode, if you want another, because we've got some other whoppers in this list that we just do not have time to get to.
I'm going to have to unwind after this.
I know,
Wow.
seriously. We will link a couple of things in the show notes for you that we mentioned in the episode, our ultimate foreplay guides.
Get the hand job you deserve.
If you want to give your partner the hand job that will convince them that hand jobs are not age restricted, then get the ultimate foreplay guides. That they also cover blowjobs, going down on a woman, fingering a woman. They're our best sellers, best reviewed guides. They're so much fun. We will also link that mental load guide for you and our book Sex Talks, which you can read or read on audiobook.
All right. Well, we've mentioned that this was quite an unhinged episode. I suspect that people like that better. Vanessa's unsure. If you love this episode, let us know by going and giving us a 5-star rating in Spotify, in Apple Podcasts. But if you are listening in Apple Podcasts, we would love it even more after you hit those 5 stars. Give us a review. What you do is you click Pillow Talks up like at the top of listening to this episode. Go to the main Pillow Talks page where all of our podcast episodes are listed. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. That's where you'll see the review section. Leave us just a couple sentences saying what you like about this podcast. That helps other people who are looking for a new unhinged relationship podcast to listen to know that this is the unhinged, amazing podcast for them to check out. And that really helps us grow, helps us reach new people and get featured by the likes of Spotify and Apple. So we appreciate you so much for doing that we read one review aloud every week. And if you hear yours read, you're a winner, and we will give you a free masterclass. All you have to do is DM us on Instagram or email us at info@vmtherapy.com. So Vanessa, why don't you take it away with this week's Review of the Week winner?
Okay, thank you for fighting for the ladies. I love this podcast and how it normalizes women getting pleasure too. How did our society get like this? I'm so sad it took too many years to learn my body and what I like. I first started following Vanessa on Instagram pre-Vanessa and Xander. Wow, you're an OG. Dang. But recently have been binging Pillow Talks episodes. I've been learning so much from this podcast and especially love the phrase, everyone who wants an orgasm gets one. My husband was recently on a men-only camping trip and they all mentioned that their wives never want sex. And he said, strange, my wife wants sex all the time. I think that's because of you, Vanessa and Xander.
Oh.
And it's been helping our relationship a lot. We've been thriving even in the season of raising young kids. Hell yeah. I'm going to mention this podcast next time I see those wives for sure. Thanks, guys, for normalizing pleasure. I won't end this review with emojis because I know how Xander feels about them. And then there's one. Okay, just one. A little winky face for you.
Winky face. I know what that is.
All right, well, that's all for today's episode of Pillow Talks. Thank you so much for listening. Join us again next week when we answer all your questions about orgasms.